Really good.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, we are live. We are live. Welcome to Carolina Retirement Planners Happy Half Hour. And what is this? This is March 18th. We're just past the Ides of March, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Sam,
Hope that everybody enjoyed their.
Introduce us all, Sam, just real quick.
All right. Well, I'm Sam Shukavage. With me, as always, is David Shukavage, my father and president of Carolina Retirement Planners. And with us today, we have a special guest, attorney Dick Horgan. This is his second time joining us, and we are really excited to have him back. So welcome, Dick. Thank you for joining us.
Actually, I think this is the third time. Last time you were here, Dick, we had to bring you on for an encore. We couldn't squeeze it all in.
That's right. That's right.
And just as although we got it as a matter, I should introduce Dick as someone that it has been probably nearly 20 years since Dick and I first met. And you know, as many of you know, 20 years ago this year, I switched from engineering to retirement planning, and I had to go create a corporation and do all this stuff. And Dick helped me with that. And then he's done the living trust and wills for both myself and for probably 100 to 200 clients, somewhere in that range. And so we've known Dick for a couple decades now, and it's going to be a great little thing tonight. But you know, first, what's new with you, Sam? You have anything profound going on? What are you drinking, you know?
Oh, well, today it's kind of fun. Today I'm drinking a cider that Neil brought home for me. But even more exciting is I'm busting out my my Ramesses UNC Tar Heel koozie in anticipation of their NCAA showing tomorrow against Wisconsin. So hopefully everyone is going to root for the Heels, and so that's what's going on with me.
All right. And I'm drinking a herbal tea, although it doesn't look like it. Honestly, it's herbal tea. And I no longer follow Cornell football or anything. So I don't know what's going on, you know.
Cornell football. He's excited about Cornell football playing in the NCAA tournament.
Now, Dick, what you went to where? You went to another Ivy school.
That is pretty funny, Sam. I'm laughing too.
I went to Yale, but when I wear my Y in my hat, they ask me if I went to yeshiva. So I've given up wearing the hat.
So
oh goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I know that we have a lot of stuff to cover, but
can I just chime in really quickly? And just because David said that, it totally goes with what today is, which is Awkward Moments Day.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was kind of
Awkward Moments Day.
I'm an expert at awkward moments,
basketball.
You know.
He's a gay sports ball kind of a guy.
And for those of you who are new, that is Amy. Amy is behind the scenes making all this work. So we're actually doing this on Zoom and feeding the Zoom into Facebook, and you're watching it on Facebook Live. And by the way, you can go watch this and the other 35 or 36 that we now have recorded from the last 35 weeks. You can watch them on demand. Tell your friends about them. There was a lot of good info there, and hopefully delivered in an entertaining fashion. You know, Dick, what did we ask Dick what he's drinking?
We have not. I'm so rude. Dick, what are you imbibing upon this afternoon?
A true Irish drink, scotch and water.
Okay.
Beautiful. Now we do, since we have your attention today, we have 2 points that we want to make before we dive in. Many of you may have heard this already, but as of yesterday, they officially moved tax day to May 17th. So if anybody has not already completed your taxes, if you're one of those last minute filers, if you've been worried about it, you are going to have an extra month to get that filed.
Get an extra month to procrastinate, you know?
Exactly.
You know? It's just
I actually filed my taxes this past weekend, But I do remember a time back in my early 20s where on tax day, I was driving all around the triangle, all around Raleigh, trying to find that mailbox, because not all of them took it. There was like one mail place that was still open past 5 where I could go in and still hand deliver my packet of mail. And I had to drive I ended up going to like 3 different places because I was that person.
I
And
remember 20 years ago here in Wilmington, we had, I think some of my friends in an old timey band would go down and play at midnight, down the last couple hours at the courthouse, at the post office, to entertain the people that were dropping it off at the last minute, But
Your dad didn't pay you enough. You need a more complicated tax return and more time to prepare it. He's got to give you a raise.
well,
yeah.
this was back in my 20s whenever I was selling wine, and my life was much different back then. It was not a complicated tax return at all.
Now, by the way, we don't know you're here unless you type it into the chat. So if you say hi to us in the chat, we'll know. And we've got a number of folks. Miranda is here. Miranda is one of our regulars. I don't think she has missed one yet. Amy's mom is here. Ricky is here. Bruce, Brad, Nadine, and Brent are here. Our last week's wine winner, Jane
Carter
and Carter are both here. And I have not had a chance to call and see how they like their wine yet. Who else do we got, Sam?
Laney's here, and I see that
another regular.
Bob and Val are hailing from Chapel Hill, where it is cloudy. Bill's here. Hey, Bill and Diane and Lisa. Oh, and Bruce, he was letting you know that Cornell lacrosse is always competitive. So if you're looking for something to follow,
you can always root for you stand a chance if you root for their lacrosse team, And Wanda, Kay, and Paula are here. And
Rose. Welcome, Rose. This may be your first time joining us, maybe, or one of your first.
It is. In fact, I talked to Rose earlier today on the phone in a 15-minute phone call and had a delightful time with Rose. Martha and Patrick are here. Paula.
Ooh, and they're at Chateau Elan, drinking Sauvignon Blanc. That sounds lovely.
Making me thirsty. And Tallulah, another regular and an old client, a longtime client of ours is here.
Ooh, Bruce, that's a good question. Have the state tax filing dates also changed officially? I have not. I need to follow up on that, but I would assume that they will follow suit. It would be very cruel for them not to fall in line. I think it's safe. I would think that's a safe assumption to make.
Yeah, and our own Mary is here, and Michael, Nina,
and Robin,
Jeannie, and Rick and Marcy must be here, and finally Lynn. I think we got a. By the way, if you are we're going to kick Dick in just a second, but boy, what's really nice is down below it'll say share. If you click on share, it'll say hold watch party. If you click on that, it'll tell all your friends you're here. And this is some info everybody should know. This is some legal gotchas, potential gotchas that Dick's going to cover. So hold a watch party and let more people know. But Dick, what is it we're talking about?
Wait. I know. I want to get Dick started. I'm only going to take just a second with this. Everybody, I know that we have potential impending severe weather. It looks like it's been getting less and less, bad as the day's been going on. It doesn't look like it's coming here until about 6 o'clock, but I want to remind everybody not to depend upon like sirens outdoors. Make sure that on your phone or your mobile device that you have either the WECT app, the Red Cross emergency app, or you can turn on like an emergency weather alert on your cell phone. So make sure you have another way to get an alert in case there's some kind of tornado watch or warning.
What
in
do
your
we do
area.
before cell phones, you know?
I don't know. I don't know.
So Dick,
But,
what are we talking about today? What's our topic?
Today, we're doing with powers of attorney.
And I always like to joke, that sounds boring, but boy, there is a lot of things there. It's one of those things that people don't realize what they can do. Give me an example, a quick example of what it means if you don't have the right, what could happen if you don't have the right power of attorney?
Well, if hubby has a stroke and there's no power of attorney, the wife cannot access his IRA, cannot sell his car, cannot deal with finances to pay the medical bills and take care of him.
Yeah.
Very
I
simple.
mean, can you imagine? Most people think, oh, I'm married to the rascal all these years. If he has a stroke, I can go into his IRA and manage it and get money out to help him. And no, and what do you have to do to get that money if you don't have a power of attorney?
David, it's a real expensive hassle. You go to court, get the poor guy adjudicated incompetent, get yourself appointed guardian. And that's $2,000 in this town and 3 weeks of aggravation.
Yeah. So let's go ahead. Explain what the powers of attorney are, how they work, and all that good stuff.
Okay, well, David is right. These are important documents. They're often overlooked, they're often misunderstood, and they're very often misapplied. I'm going to assume you folks know very little and start at ground zero and give you a foundation. In the simplest terms, what is a power of attorney? It's a legal document authorized by a state statute that a person gives someone else, another person, the authority to act on their behalf. And then what that second person does is deemed to be the legal act of the first person. So it's very basic. I get phone calls all the time from someone I've never met that says they're having problems with Bank of America trying to use their dad's power of attorney who died last week. Well, the point is, dad can't act anymore and no one he's given authority to can act anymore. Every power of attorney, whatever it is, always expires when the author expires. Rather basic concept. There are 2 subject matters that powers of attorney deal with. First is healthcare. Second is for your assets, your finances. Let's talk first about healthcare. Every state, no exception, has a statute that governs the healthcare power of attorney, says what its purpose is, and says what you have to do to have a valid one. In North Carolina, I think of it as a sit on the shelf, standby, just in case document, because it's literally the healthcare power of attorney now, literally not effective when you sign it, because the key sentence says, if in the future I can't make a healthcare decision for myself, I want my wife to make it, if not, my adult daughter. So it's a future-oriented document in that sense. And you really want to have a backup, because if both of you are in a car crash, somebody's got to be available. So you have a primary agent and a backup. And it's a one person at a time in North Carolina. The doctor doesn't really want to have son and daughter arguing over what the healthcare decision is. They want clear lines of authority. No more Al Haig raising his hand and saying, I'm president, and we had 5 minutes of chaos. So you appoint one person at a time. Now, the following is sort of obvious. You have to have sufficient mental faculties to know what you're doing, to understand what the healthcare power is going to do. And if you've got that capacity, you're able to make your own healthcare decision at that time. So it's not effective when you sign it because you don't need it. It's effective only when you can no longer make a healthcare decision. The other thing that is very often overlooked, and my first true tip for the audience today is, please don't assume your adult child who's 42 years old and your 19-year-old grandson or granddaughter has a power of attorney. And because they obviously don't. Who thinks, oh, my kid just turned 19, I better get him a power of attorney and a healthcare power of attorney. The parent loses all right to make a healthcare decision once that 18th birthday comes. And people don't have that in mind. And obviously the parent's going to make a decision for a really severely injured 20-year-old, but you need the legal authority. You don't want to go to court and have a whole, if your son gets hurt, you're in mental anguish already. You don't want to add the hassle of going to court. And no one in the world has the authority to make a decision over my body. Now, my wife thought she did. She was always nagging me about taking better care of my health, but the court system doesn't work that way. So only if you do it in advance in writing and say, so-and-so can make a decision for me if you can't.
Because the court doesn't know, even though you're married, they don't know whether you've been happily married, and they don't make that assumption, right? So you gotta tell them you're at least married happily enough that your wife or husband has permission to mess with your stuff.
That's right. Now, in North Carolina and in virtually every state, it's a statutory form. It's available online. You can download it yourself. You gotta do it carefully and fill it in. But in North Carolina, by statute, we need 2 witnesses and a notary. Just a formality. It's a little bit like a will. You just can't sign it and grab your neighbor. You need 2 witnesses and a notary, disinterested witnesses. But the form is widely available. It's not expensive. It's not difficult, etc. And you should use the statutory form for the simple reason that you don't have to. You can use one you wrote yourself. You can use one from Vermont from 10 years ago. But you want to use the local approved form because every nurse, every hospital person, it's part of their job description. They see it every day. They implement it like that. There's no delays. And you don't want delays when it comes to a healthcare decision. In North Carolina, last point here, North Carolina's statutory form is much better than most states. I see them from all over, and it's much better than most states. So believe me, you're going to do a grandchild who's just turned 18 or 19, and your adult child a big favor, and yourself a big favor. I had a situation 3 years ago where a client's grandson, who was 22, came visiting. Well, he got hurt on Wrightsville Beach, emergency room, all of that. The parents are in Spokane, Washington, and no one can make a healthcare decision for the poor kid who's unconscious. So you don't want to go through that. It's so easy to see that your loved family members have a healthcare power of attorney. Okay.
So you need 2 signatures. Do you need it notarized as well?
Yes, in North Carolina, not in Florida. Florida just needs 2 witnesses.
Okay.
North Carolina has 2 witnesses and a notary. The second type of power of attorney is for your assets, for your money.
Mhm.
And it can be used for one transaction. I'm going to be out of town 3 weeks. I'm trying to sell my Chevy. I can give somebody authority to sell my Chevy if the title is in my own name. But most powers of attorney are general. They're known as a durable general power of attorney. General just to distinguish it from healthcare, because healthcare is limited healthcare. But when we say general power of attorney, it covers everything. The car, the boat, the house, the bank account, the life insurance, and the Labrador Retriever. It covers everything. Okay. Durable means it's going to stay in effect. It won't just expire if you have a stroke. Expires when you die, but not if you're injured. Okay. And now in North Carolina and a lot of states, 2 types of powers of attorney. One's effective the day you sign it, effective upon execution. Terrible term, but effective upon execution. The other one is effective when needed, meaning if you become disabled. And for someone who is 65 years old and healthy, and let's say there's a single person, there may be a widow. In my mind, there's no need for that person now at age 65 to have a power of attorney naming one of their adult children effective now. Maybe in 10 or 15 years, maybe, but not now. I don't like to see a somewhat elderly person, hope none of you take offense at 65, I'm not saying that's elderly, give access to an adult child to their assets when there's no need to. For that type of person, it's much better to have a power of attorney that is protective of them. Only they can manage their finances, and only if they need a financial helper with an illness or accident, then it kicks in. Mm-hmm. And especially with married couples, we often do it married a long time. This may not work with Donald and Melania or Brad and Angeli, but for us normal folks, very often the power of attorney is effective to each other when you sign it, but not with the adult child until there's a need for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we always use the excuse, you got the doddering old man and his son gets into a gambling debt, and to save his kneecaps, he starts draining his father's bank account, You just want to, statistically, that'll happen sooner or later. So
now my dad who lived, an Irishman, my dad who lived, I think the whiskey kept him alive, but my Irishman, my father died at 100 years and 7 days. And he was totally on his own financially until about age 97. And then his son, the lawyer, that would be me, took over paying his bills and stuff under power of attorney. Even though he was in Oregon and I'm in North Carolina, very easy to do these days. And again, if you don't have a financial power of attorney, no one can sell your car. No one can have access to your IRA. See, the fact that hubby is named wife beneficiary of the IRA doesn't mean anything today. Husband has not died. Beneficiary.
Hey, people have to realize that, you may have a joint bank account that you can both get at, but IRAs are attached to the person. And if you didn't give someone else permission, automatically only that person can change it. So IRAs are tricky. We go over that in some of the earlier happy half hours. They're a different beast legally than you might expect if you're not sure. So also a husband could have, or a wife could have, a bank account in their own name for some reason without having a joint piece, and that can bite you too. So
that's very common. Wife has a little inheritance, $25,000 she got from her mom, and she just kept it separate. And hubby would have no access to it. The other thing that people don't realize is you might add someone as a signatory, but if you have a stroke, that signatory authority goes away. It's not a power of attorney.
Let me hit on a couple other things, Dick. One is, isn't there a guardianship attorney as well besides legal and health?
Yes, you nominate who you would like to be your guardian if for any reason the court was ever asked to do it. I call that nomination for appointment of guardian. And the real reason to do it is so that the judge that's involved does not appoint the latest campaign contributor to their judge's reelection campaign. And instead it's your adult child or your...
Yeah. So there's not just the legal power of attorney and the healthcare power of attorney, which are your health and your finances, but the guardianship is the person that's responsible. If you're like, when a child's parents die, someone's got to be their legal guardian. If you're old and, no longer have your capacities, someone's got to be your guardian as well. And I have seen personally cases where the judge did appoint a lawyer friend who, and I mean, it was sad, even though her brother, it was like,
I remember that case.
That was the case. It taught me you really want to have your documents in place.
Oh my God. Did y'all see that movie on Netflix with Rosamund Pike? Actually, Mom was the one who recommended it to me. It was very recent.
What's the name?
It's called I Care a Lot, and it's about the woman who's the guardian, but she's corrupt.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw that. Crazy movie.
Other people, Mom enjoyed it. I did not enjoy it. I did not enjoy watching. Apparently there was some dark humor in it. I could not get over the fact that she was just taking advantage of people like that. I couldn't get over it to find the humor.
Okay. Speaking of dark humor, I know I can't interact with the audience, but can any of you guess how many lawyer jokes there really are?
How many lawyer jokes are there?
There really are.
How many? How many lawyer jokes are there?
There are really only 3. The rest are true stories. All right. Probably enough about powers of attorney.
We had a question here. Does the medical power of attorney in another state, say Georgia, created 20 years ago, before marriage still apply?
Yeah, I think whenever people are talking about powers of attorney, the biggest question I've heard is, hey, I have one from another state, or hey, I'm moving to another state, crossing state lines. How does that affect your existing power of attorney documents?
And the answer is real simple. If it was validly executed in the state where it was executed 10 years ago, David's hypothetical Georgia, North Carolina will honor it. It'll be valid. Now, the nurse or the hospital administrator is going to be looking at different language. Persistent vegetative state, we don't use that. Coma, we don't use that. So you really can't expect a nurse here to understand the language used by 49 other states. That's the practical reason to use the North Carolina form. One more thought on this subject, and that is, people think of estate plan, their mind jumps to a will. And they never think about, gee, there are some documents like a healthcare or financial that help you while you're alive. Estate planning means what's the death scenario, but you got to help yourself along the way, make life easier, while you're alive. So, David, we're probably hitting the magic.
Yeah, we're getting close to the end of the hour. I have one question. Nancy asked, these videos I talked about, there's 3 places you can go for videos. One is on Carolina Retirement Planners Facebook page. If you click on videos, all 35 are there. You can watch them on demand. You can go to rogo.com, rogo.com. We got a lot of educational videos there based on workshops we used to do. We put them up there in the time of COVID. And our website, Carolina Retirement Planners, we just redid it a couple weeks ago. Got some really good videos there. Let me know what you think. I want to say a couple of things. One is, Dick, if people want to get in touch with you, there's a couple ways to do it. You can go to dickhorgan.com. That's his website, or email Dick at dickhorgan.com and get in touch with him there. You can call our office, and I think our number's on the email you got, 910-815-3100. 815-3100. We'll put you in touch with him. We'll get you booked in as well. Or you can go to our website and send an email in, and we'll get you in touch as well. We have also, and we're going to get close to the wine drawing. So we also have a nice little report that talks about the greatest gift. Outline your wishes with an estate plan. It's sort of like a general document on estate planning. And we can email this to you if you go to our website, carolinaretirementplanners.com, and just drop your email in and request this, or reply to the email you got. Any other ways they can get us, Amy, to get a hold of this?
I'm gonna put all of those ways in the comments. I already have been, but if anybody wants to meet with you or Sam, I'll put your calendar in there as well. And all the ways will be in the comments.
If you'd like to talk to Sam and I, we can book a 15-minute phone call. There's a little link you can click in the comments and go right to a little calendar where you can enter things. So again, Dick at dickhorgan.com. And Dick, if I'm right, if they came from this little broadcast, the meeting with you, the first meeting is at your expense.
Oh, yeah, it's complimentary, sure.
So you can get your questions answered, find out what you need, risk-free. And boy, I'll tell you, there's nightmare stories out there. You really want to get the legal stuff in place.
One thing I forgot to say is, for any of you who have an elderly parent still alive, make sure they have both a health and financial power of attorney. Otherwise, you can't help them.
Yeah, you don't want to be flying, going to court to take care of your mother because now she's
in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, in Pennsylvania, so you're going to hire lawyers there to go to court for you. It's just going to be, you want to get it done. Well, Sam, how about our drawing?
All right.
How do people who didn't get into the drawing get in there next week?
So next week we have a whole slew of ways to enter. The easiest way is that if you are on Facebook and you see our Facebook event, you just have to click RSVP that you are going. That is the easiest way. And we have been opening that up. And so now our entries have been growing exponentially since that. During the course of the week, we also send out a couple of different email blasts to let you know what our topic is and what we're going to be covering. You can respond to those emails with a question about what we're going to be covering or a future topic that you'd like to see us to cover, or you can just respond and say, enter me into the wine drawing. We just want to give away wine. And also, if you if you invite one of your friends to join us for the happy half hour by forwarding on the email or by sending them on the Facebook invitation, we will enter you in again as well. So we'll enter you in twice. So however you want to do it, we would love to enter you into this raffle for 2 bottles of wine shipped directly to your door. It is from Fermental Bottle Shop, located in Ogden, a really cool locally owned bottle shop, and we love to support them. So our winners for today of 2 bottles, man, I'm just getting more and more. So I'm trying to make sure they're like nice and mixed up. We were to the wire today. It was like right as we went live, I put my last one in here. Okay. So our winners today is Gloria M. So
Gloria. Well,
congratulations,
congratulations,
Gloria M.
Gloria.
Yes, I think that Gloria M is somebody who came to us just through Facebook.
Mhm.
So we will be reaching out to you through Facebook, Gloria. So be looking out for us, and you have won. So congratulations.
And next week, did we pick a topic for next week?
Oh man, Amy's always trying to get us to do that
I
and
think we
in
did, didn't we?
advance.
Did we pick one yet?
Oh,
Oh,
no, we
haven't picked-
didn't.
We didn't.
You
Okay.
were thinking about Brunswick Forest. We did not. We don't have.
Okay, so we will,
I
next
thought
week
there
will
was
be a
gonna be a-
surprise. If you have anything you'd like to hear, put it in the comments or send us an email, and we'll think of something good and fun for next week. We're getting close to tax time, though. Tax time's kind of moving away. It's time to kind of bring out some of the good tax saving, tips as well. Okay, well, we're about half an hour.
Mhm.
And everybody, it has been once again fun to be here with you. And so cheers till
and-
next week.
And thank you, Dick, for joining us today.
Thank you, Dick.
We
And
are so appreciative as
we'll
always.
have you back here in the future for another good topic.
As Bugs Bunny used to say, that's all, folks.
Okay.
I love it.
Bye-bye.